What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Well, XLM, HBAR, and Solana are all making an extremely similar move right now, and I was like, you know what? Instead of making 3 separate videos, why not we put them all in one video? And so today we're going to be talking about exactly what this move is and what it could mean for their prices going forward. And I do want to ask one favor from you. Leave in the comments down below how you feel about videos like this, where instead of making 3 separate videos, we just put them all in one for you so you can get it as quickly as possible. So let me know that as soon as you can, and let's get straight into the video. And guys, don't forget, if you do want to trade a little Bitcoin, Solana, SWI, Pepe, SHIB, and many more on all the way up to 500x leverage, you can check out that BTCC link down below. Guys, if you do sign up specifically with my link, they're going to give you a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. This means, for example, if you deposit, say, $3,000, they're going to give you $300 on the spot to start trading with. And whatever profit you make from that $300 is all yours, no strings attached. This is literally an opportunity to make free gains during the bull market on a very, very good platform. So if you are interested in that, again, head down to the link down below and go check out BTCC. So before we dive into what exactly is happening from these 3 different cryptos, Solana, XLM, and HBAR, let me give you the context as to, of course, what they're doing. So we'll just use Solana as an example, okay? So what you can see here is that recently, over the last couple of days here, especially maybe even the last week or so now on the channel, we have been tracking what's called a descending parallel channel. You can see that here with Solana, you can see that here with XLM, and you can see that here with HBAR. Now, the reason we've been tracking these channels is because they are very, very important. What I need you to understand is that crypto has a bunch of different options after it pumps, right? A crypto is going to do this. It's going to go straight upwards. And once it goes upwards like this, like we saw from these 3 cryptos, they're going to have to make a decision because, you can't just go up forever, obviously. You're going to have to decide what happens next. Is it a complete crash and pullback? Is it a gradual continuation downwards? Is it maybe sideways consolidation? Or are we going to melt upwards before, maybe get a capitulation and pump, or just straight into the pump? What is it going to do? And of course, if there are this many options, well, inherently, there are going to be options that are better than others. And what I have come to recognize over the last 5 years of studying these charts, basically every single day, is that this is my favorite option. This option right here, the one where it pumps and it, gradually goes down. Now, there's a couple reasons to why that is the case. The first reason is quite simply because this is the easiest structure, right, that allows for our indicators to reset. So we're thinking RSI, MACD, stochastic, Bollinger Bands, these things, right? What you want to see is those indicators reset, because what you have to understand is that if an indicator is at the top, if it's overbought, if we're going too far, too fast upwards, that means that we're in a little mini bubble. And oftentimes that bubble is going to burst. And so what I like to see is that bubble burst very gradually, very slowly. Let's see that indicator reset and cool back down as casually as possible without doing anything too crazy, because quite frankly, the crazier things get, the more freaked out people get, the more people lose money because they start getting liquidated. I don't like that. What I like is to see these indicators reset gradually, casually, which allows for people to, in these little micro adjustments, adjust to the fact that the market is pulling back and cooling down. So from an indicator perspective, this is my favorite option. From a price perspective, this is also my favorite option. And the reason being is because oftentimes when we get moves of this nature, this allows us to create what are called RS flips. Because what you have to understand is that the move doesn't actually look like this, right? We're not actually just going straight up. What's usually happening is something like this. And what I like to see, what I would even be willing to say, it's more like, let me make it a little even more detailed. It usually looks like this. And whenever we get these pullbacks to the downside, these ones right here, option number 2, I guess we'll go ahead and call that 2, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. When we get option number 2, what oftentimes happens here is that the price is capable of, while the indicators are resetting, the price is also coming back down and flipping these previous points of resistance into support points. These are called RS flips. So we got an RS flip there, you would come back down here, you get an RS flip here, and then you would continue upwards. Now, the reason why this is so important from a more structural perspective is because it allows us to build a foundation of support. I mean, imagine as if you're conquering land. Okay, let's get real Game of Thrones here, right? You're bulls, meaning you want the price to go up, and there are bears who want the price to go down. And your motivation as a bull is to capture as much land as possible. Well, sometimes as you're going up through this bearish territory, what you need to do is capture some of this land and go back to it. Say we capture this land and we capture this land and we capture this land and we just keep pushing forward. Sometimes you need to go back and you need to build your base. You need to build a little bit of a support zone to have your food and materials or whatever it may be. And you can use that base to then go even further, even faster, because you have that support zone closer to you rather than needing median go all the way back down here. Now, I know that's a bit of an out of the ordinary example, but I'm sure you can see what I mean. It's important for cryptos to be able to come back down and build a foundation, build a base, build their fundamental support zone that can allow for a continuation upwards. And so not only do we get the ability for the indicators to reset, as I mentioned before, but whenever you have option number 2 going on, this allows for you to build that structural foundation necessary for a continuation upwards. And so now knowing that this is the ideal, scenario or situation, now you can see why we've been tracking so closely the formation of that structure here for Hedera, as you can see here with this descending parallel channel, for XLM with the descending parallel channel, and with Solana with the descending parallel channel. And so now knowing what each one of these are creating, what we're going to do next in the next part of the video is we're now going to zoom into what is happening on them right now, what we just saw for the majority of them, and what we can be doing as a result of it. So now that you have that recap and a good understanding of it, let's move into the next portion of the video. And look, I will give you a little bit of a warning before we move on that some of the things that we're about to talk about might get a little bit confusing for you if you are a beginner or if you've been here a while but you're just trying to add some more tools to your toolbox. So if you do get confused, all that I ask from you is just to stick around to the end of the video. We're going to get a lot more in depth about things, and I am going to tell you how you can join the Discord server, which is where we teach all of these things in classes, lessons, workshops, live streams, and many more. And we have a community that's generating hundreds of percentages of gains every single day. And so again, if that is you, if you get a little bit confused, or if you do want to just start learning and elevating even more, please stick around to the end of the video. Just trust me on this one. Okay, so as I mentioned before, now that you have a good understanding of what's going on, let's kind of jump into them. So what you're going to see is that over the last few weeks, we have been tracking these descending channels for all 3 of these cryptos. But just yesterday, we actually saw the majority of them get rejected. And a lot of people, what I've noticed oddly, is that a lot of people are a little stressed out right now. Like, oh, Solana's pulling back, HBAR's pulling back, Stellar's pulling back, etc. I was like, you know what? Let me just show you what's going on with all of them, because it's not that big a deal. What's happening with all 3 of them right now is that they're getting rejected off of a structural resistance point, which I'll explain in a second, and now they're heading back down to find support. And oftentimes, if we start buying in these moments when they're going back down to find support, we can make some pretty good gains. Let me show you what I mean. So if we go into, say, Solana, for example, what you can see is that Solana, is this Solana? Yeah, this is Solana. What we saw was that Solana came up towards the 75% threshold of this descending channel. And remember, you can take a descending channel like this and break it into 4 quarters, 75 to 100, 75 to 50, 50 to 25, 25 to 0. And what happened here was that Solana's price came up to the 75% threshold, and now it's just getting rejected back towards the downside to try to find a higher low. I think that's what it's trying to do. It broke up, broke all this resistance, and this resistance, came back down, is now trying to build some support on top of those previous points of resistance. Very simple. We're seeing the same thing from XLM. You go to XLM, it got rejected off the 50% threshold, and now it's coming back to try to find support, just like it did a couple, yesterday, I believe, in which we hit this 25% threshold and bounced back up towards the 50. So XLM is another one, just trying to find some support. And if we go to HBAR finally, HBAR did the same thing as Solana. HBAR came up directly to the 75% threshold, and now it's gotten rejected back to the downside. So although that it might feel like, oh shoot, they're down, they're falling, this isn't good, quite frankly, when you zoom out and you look at the structure itself, you come to realize, oh, this isn't very scary at all. All they're doing is, now that they've cleared a bunch of resistance points, they're just coming back down to try to find some support. And what we need to be capable of understanding is that at the end of the day, these descending channels are very bullish. They allow for the resets and the cooldowns and the support that we're looking for, and the likelihood is they're going to end up breaking to the upside. The only one that spooks me a little bit here is Hedera, and that's just quite simply because the structure itself isn't as clearly defined because of this wick that we got here. But even still, I'm not all that concerned. Sure, there may be a world in which they break out to the downside of these descending channels. It's just not that likely to happen. There's about a 20% chance that that happens. And so to me, I'm not going to bet on that. I don't really foresee that happening, especially not during a bull market. And so what I'm doing at this given point, now that I understand that all they're doing is just back testing, they're getting rejections off of structural resistance points and coming back down to try to flip these resistance points into support points, is I'm laying out my purchase items. Or my purchase, prices. I don't know why I said items. So what that means is that I'm like, okay, well, I think that it's likely that as they come back down, they're going to try to find support and give another run to the upside at some point. Maybe this week, maybe next week, maybe next month. Doesn't matter. Don't care. Time frame's unimportant. It's just about the gains. So for what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, if that's the case and I think it's going to build support, my strategy is to buy a little bit more and more and more the lower that they go, because I'm getting more and more likely for a bounce upwards to generate profit. So what we're going to do is let's lay out 3 price ranges that I'll be purchasing each one of these at if their prices do continue lower, starting with Solana. First and foremost with Solana, I would be doing some buying on this 50% threshold if we get this low. Now mind you, there's a chance that all of them, by the time this video goes out, just reverses to the upside and we never hit these buy levels. You know what? Cool, good. We just did some buying back here, so that just means we're continued in profit. I'm just preparing for the worst case scenario, which is that it continues downwards. So for Solana, I would be doing some buying first and foremost at the 50% threshold, the middle of the descending parallel channel. The next level that I would do some purchasing at is at Solana's short-term downside golden Fibonacci zone, which I would actually be doing it right, trying to time it right around the middle of this zone. So we're going to go $212 here for Solana, right there. That's going to be purchase number 2. Purchase number 3 for me is going to be if we hit the green box, just like I did back here, just like I did right here. I believe if we hit the green box, we're going to try to pump upwards. So I would be doing a big purchase if we hit that green box. So quite simply, I mean, what I can do is just take a price note. Let's get a price label actually. And we're going to go 50% threshold, $212 area, green box. These are going to be the 3 levels that I'm doing some buying, because my perception on this is that we're going to see Solana try to find support and bounce back upwards. And I'll just be ready for that by doing some dollar cost averaging here. Now, mind you, these aren't going to be big purchases. My average cost on Solana is $30 or $33 now. So because of that, I'm not doing huge purchases at $216, but I am willing to do a little bit of buying because we're in a macro downtrend and I love buying in descending channels. So that's my strategy. We're going to go next into XLM. For XLM, I have 2 buy zones actually. Buy zone number 1, because it is a little lower. Buy zone number 1 is the top side of the 25% threshold. Buy zone number 2 is the middle to bottom of the 25% threshold. From a price perspective, that means if we see XLM today hit about 40 cents, I'll be doing some buying. And if it continues a little bit lower, around 38 cents, I would be doing some more buying, expecting its price to try to push up from there. And then lastly, off HBAR, we're going to be looking very, very similar to XLM in the sense that I would be doing some buying if we hit the bottom 25% threshold, right around 27 cents. And I would be doing some more buying if it hits the middle of that threshold, right around 26 cents. So between 27 and 26 cents is when I would be doing a little bit of buying for HBAR itself. And again, there is a chance that I'm wrong, and I hope you guys do understand I might be wrong, and we might see this thing go here and bounce and capitulate. And that just might be the case, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking a risk that 80% of the time here I'm right, 20% of the time I'm wrong. Totally fine by me, because quite frankly, even if these cryptos do capitulate, I think that's going to be the bottom of this macro pullback we've been in, and then they're going to start trying to pump over the next few months anyway. So all I got to do is just wait it out, and these purchases will end up in profit anyway, unless I guess the bull market's over, which I don't think it is. And so because of all of these things, guys, this is my strategy. This is the game plan. You got to be able to peel back the curtain a little bit and not be so stressed out just because the market's pulling back, because quite frankly, there may be some great opportunities approaching that you will notice if you just start doing a little bit of charting. And so because of that, I wanted to share that with you today. Again, don't forget to let me know down in the comments below if you like videos like this where we're going over 3 different cryptos in one video and laying out their targets. I feel like it saves you time and me time, so let me know down there below and keep a very close eye on these levels, because it seems like we may be heading to them and some great buying opportunities may be on the way. And as I said before, if you're someone who is trying to simply just get better in this whole crypto thing, whether you're a beginner or whether you're advanced but you want to just add more tools to your toolbox, what I want you to do is I want you to check out the Discord server, guys. Now let me just put it out there on the table. If you want to join the Discord server, it's a $17 a month charge or $5 a month charge. It's the cost of a Netflix subscription or cheaper. But what you get access to are my insights. This oftentimes includes some of the things that I'm buying and selling, my thoughts and advice and guidance on just random things happening throughout the market. You get access to our exclusive live shows that we have every single day, Q&As, Crypto Vault Lives, Fridays with Frank, and much more. You're getting daily technical analysis throughout the week, daily fundamental analysis on the market throughout the week, access to 2 teams of professional traders whose livelihood depends on them making good trades, and they're giving you their buy and sell signals every single day. You're getting access to premium classes on things like the Bollinger Bands, the Fibonacci's, 5 keys to bull market investing, and more. You're going to get access to beginners courses on things like leverage trading, on things like technical analysis. And guys, these are 30 minutes long, 20-page presentations, vocabulary, cheat sheets, and much more. You're getting access to Tips with Tyler, which are these little 2 to 3 minute long videos on these topics that you can pause and read here. And we're going to post probably 100 of these, so many more coming. And all of these things combined are cultivating a community that is learning. They're learning, and they're taking what they're learning, using it to build strategies and implementing those strategies to generate hundreds of percentages in gains a day. I mean, guys, this is just yesterday, hundreds of percentages in gains on a consistent basis over and over and over again, because these people are, again, learning lessons, making strategies, turning those strategies into real life profit. So if you want to be one of these people who are growing at this rate and elevating at this rate, you can do it for the cost of a Netflix subscription or cheaper. And I think that's a fantastic deal. So head to the link down below to the Patreon, THCV. Go ahead and check out Tyler Hill's Crypto Vault and let me know what you think. But don't forget, guys, we like to post 4, 5, 6, 7 videos a day here on the channel. So if you have been enjoying them, please do let us know by smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I can't wait to see you all on the next one. Peace out, everybody.